News 46. Local coverage you can count on.
Once more to Community Viewpoint, and tonight we have the honor of having Maria Hurst with us, and we're going to be talking about birds tonight. We're going to be talking about that, and before we get to that, this show is going to air the week before the Fall Fair and Festival. So hopefully everybody is watching this show is going to make it to the Fall Festival and Fair, going to the parade, which is going to happen, yes. Okay. And we're just going to have a great time, rain or shine, and we're just going to forget about what's been happening, okay, all the negativism.
Well, I was out of town, so I wasn't privy to that because I was out of town.
We'll have a great time like we do every year, and it'll go off without a hitch. Thank you, Paula Glidden, and everybody else that puts it together, and the town and everyone that's involved. So we're going to be talking about birds, I said, and we'll get to our special stuff at the end of the show.
Yes.
Okay? So let's talk about the Red Rock Audubon Society. We have with us today Bob Wilkin you're from Las Vegas?
I am from Las Vegas.
Okay. You're the president of the Red Rock Audubon Society, and you're here at the Cooperative Extension. Oh, there's your emblem. And you're here at the Cooperative Extension tonight at the Annex, which used to be the 4-H building. You're going to be having a meeting tonight of the local folks here because you have a local chapter?
Okay. We have a branch here in Pahrump. We have about 75 members of Red Rock Audubon Society that actually live here in Pahrump.
Great.
And now we've got some leadership together here so that they can start having their own monthly meetings.
Okay, great. And you have one of our past guests, Len Warren from Shoshone. He's the birdman out there, the nester. He brought a nest. He works with a lot of the kids out there and things like that, and he's been on the show a couple of times.
Yeah, he's great.
So he's part of your group too in the education portion of that?
He is our education chairman, and he is doing a great job with us, and he drives into Las Vegas every month for our board meetings and for our general meetings.
And your board meetings happen over there. I don't know if that we'd be interested in that. They're held the first Thursday of the month at 6:30. But we'll be having meetings here on a regular basis, do you think?
Yes, it'll be every fourth Monday of the month. And right now it will be at that Annex of the Cooperative Extension. And our general meeting in Las Vegas is the second Monday of every month.
Okay. Well, I was looking at the board meetings, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Now you have a walk that's scheduled at the Springs Preserve. Are you going to be telling the folks tonight about that? Or
Sure. We have two bird walks that happen all the time. The Springs Preserve in Las Vegas, the first Saturday of every month at 8 o'clock in the morning. They do a bird walk, and they'll identify all the birds for you. We usually have someone there with a scope and there's binoculars, and bring your own binoculars, and then they'll show you all those birds. Same thing we have at Floyd Lamb Park on the third Saturday of every month, and that coincides with their farmers market there. So it's free to go into Floyd Lamb Park on that morning. Just tell them that you're there to see the birds, and you can go right on in.
That's cool. There's a schedule. Can the viewers pull this up?
Oh yeah, that's
as well? Can we give them the website so they can?
Jeff, did you put that information online? I put it in front of your. We'll have it before the end of the show. But if you go to what's your website?
Red Rock Audubon.
Here.
There it is on the bottom of the screen.
Oh, we've got it right there.
RedRockAudubon.org. Okay. So you can go find out the schedule, find out more about the Red Rock Audubon.
All the bird walks are listed there in the schedule.
And your society is out there to protect, according to your mission statement, I guess, to protect, restore, and improve natural ecosystems, focusing on birds and other wildlife, and to educate the public about our unique Nevada environment. we're all environmentalists, so that this table, so that I fall right into that too, and
Excellent.
that's great if we have more people involved with things like that to appreciate what we have out here. Also, okay, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, since we're talking about that, can we just mention all the great work that they're doing at Ash Meadows? I mean,
Meadows, yes.
that's like, I mean, you guys really get in there and do hands-on
Yes, we do.
things to help the environments out there. So can we talk? I just want
Sure.
people to know, like, that you're not just an organization that gets together and has a meeting. You actually do a lot of things and greatly improve the environments for these animals.
That's another wetlands, which we have in the, it's a unique ecosystem down there. We have springs out there, boardwalks, we have a whole slew of different types of birds that are out there. And you said, what are some of the things you do out there?
There's a great way to volunteer to work out there at Ash Meadows, and that's if you go to getoutdoorsnevada.com or .org, I'm sorry, and you can see all the work days that are going on, and you can find the ones that are for Ash Meadows. And what I do is I go out there and with a group of Red Rock Audubon folks, and we join in with all of the other people who are out there to work on that particular day. And we've cut cattails out. Those have to be cut a couple of times a year so that we can keep the flow of the water going, so that the pupfish are able to survive, and we don't have as many crawfish out there.
Okay, because they're a predator to them?
Yeah, they're a predator, and they're non-native to the this environment, and so we want to get rid of those if we can, and try to keep the daces and the pupfish safe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I know, like at Crystal Springs, Crystal Reservoir, people in the past have brought in non-native species for their fish, and they've had to take them out there because they just take over. Just
exactly.
Let's not get into the salty here, but yeah, they'll take over and crowd out the native species.
And Red Rock Audubon Society is a conservation organization, and we're mainly about conservation, and we work with the ecosystem, but we have a focus on birds. But it's not just about birds. It's the pupfish. It's the other animals. The bighorn sheep and all of that. So we're involved in all areas of conservation.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
And then Len has a bird walk on the weekends. I forget if it's on Saturday or Sunday out in Shoshone. I think it's 7 or 8 in the morning. But we'll have him come on again so he can tell us too. But there's birding, there's bird walks out there also. And Ash Meadows, you have it in Red Rock. And you're going to be doing something over at the Desert Demonstration Gardens over here. Did Debbie say that? Or are you going to do some habitat for some little owl?
I think the burrowing owls, we're working on burrowing owls in a lot of different locations. We started at Floyd Lamb Park. Here's the burrowing owls now. This is a family of 5 juveniles with 2 adults, and they were, and you don't see all of them in this photograph, but those are some that took up residence in a burrow that we just put out last year, and you put in these burrows, and it's about a 20-foot pipe, and the nesting chamber has to be 3 feet deep underground so that they can have the right temperatures, and that's the nesting chamber there. And these nesting chambers are larger than the ones that we've been using in the past, because we found that if you give them a larger nesting chamber, they can actually have more chicks that come through to adulthood, to fledge. And so we lay this pipe in there. It's about 20 feet long, and and it's all plastic with it's corrugated plastic, so that the water leaks down through it and goes into the ground instead of coming down to the nesting chamber.
Oh.
And and this is what the outside of it would look like with that's a male and a female there sitting out in front of their block, and the block holds the front of the plastic tube open so that it doesn't get any kind of damage from people walking by or anything like that. And here's one of our proud fathers of the burrowing owls that nested there in Floyd Lamb Park after we put in 12 artificial burrows this past year there. Gilcrease Orchard allowed us to put in 3 burrows at their location, and we're going to do another 3 this year toward Christmas time.
And how do you populate them, or do they do that to themselves?
They do it themselves. And the one that we were doing at Gilcrease Orchard, it was because a developer was going to crush one of the burrows. And they did that with the help of U.S. Fish and Wildlife. They sent a camera down in to make sure the owls weren't home. And then they crushed the burrow under the supervision of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife. And then we had put the other burrows only about 100 feet away. And so just over a fence and where they'll be protected. And then they went right there and raised a family this year. So we were very excited. So
That's cool.
sometimes it takes them a little bit of time to find those. But this time, of all of our burrows, only one set of burrows did not have a nesting pair this year. So, and we think next year it will have.
Are they indigenous to certain place in the United States or the
They are.
world?
They are, and they are indigenous to the western United States and Canada. The Canadian birds migrate down here, and they hang out here for the winter, and our birds go south and go to Mexico for the winter. And then we have a few that stay all year round, but we haven't done a banding event yet where we can actually watch each bird, and we think we have a couple of them that we can identify that that stay here all year round. They don't go anywhere, so we're excited about that.
They're Nevadans.
Yeah, they're Nevadans. And they change their diet depending on the time of year. And so during the winter time, they eat small rodents, and during the summer, they'll eat bugs.
Okay, and
That's
they
cool.
live how long? 2, 3, 4 years? 5
You know, I'm not positive about that, but I think they can live to be 12, 13, 14 years old.
Oh, cool.
Because we've had some that we know of that have been there for 5 years, and they're the exact same pair, nesting pair.
Oh, great.
The wise old owls.
And they mate for life, or no? Or they
You know, they
promiscuous?
don't. They don't. They stand out front and call, and the males do at the proper time of year. They stand out in front of their burrow and call and show off, and they decorate the front of their burrow, and if the decoration's just right and the call happens to fall on the right ears, why then you have a nesting pair.
Okay, great.
And so they have different pairs each year.
You know, we think one of the pairs stays there all the time, so I think they nest together every year. But the other ones that are coming through and that kind of thing, they get a mate, and everybody hooks up and goes. And there's a
And
lot
then
of
that mate just leaves and moves on to a different.
right, and there's a lot of death in the owls as well, because people are raising cats and of course turning them loose, and that we end up with feral cats, and house cats are probably the worst enemy of the burrowing owls, because the owls aren't looking for a house cat really to be sneaking up on them. They're looking above themselves for hawks, and they're looking, coyotes and that kind of
Larger.
thing. But the cats will get several of them. So
The cats people just dump the cats.
yeah,
And
people
then-
people move, or they lose their home and they leave, and they leave the cat out in the neighborhood, and then those cats have more cats, and then people feed them, and that's one of the things that this latest legislation in Henderson is all about, is stopping people from feeding feral cats. So because we're trying to eliminate that, because Las Vegas has the largest amount of burrowing owls in an urban setting, and this is where U.S. Fish and Wildlife is studying the urban burrowing owl. And so we are it, and our members of Red Rock Audubon Society are the ones that are collecting all the data for the scientists in this respect.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So if there's a message we can get out, because we'll go on YouTube as well. If there's a message we can get out to people, or if you know anybody about the cats, like what. Just don't leave your cat, or obviously.
Yeah, and
but-
don't feed feral cats,
Okay.
because they just then have more cats, and then we have a real problem.
Yeah, I have a
And
cat.
spay and neuter, maybe.
Spay and neuter every
Maybe.
time.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
I have a cat that comes to my house in nighttime. And in the morning, sometimes I'll see him as he's leaving. He's got a collar on. He's a black cat. I don't know where he goes, but
Right.
he comes there from time to time, and every now
But he
and
has a
then.
collar, so he's.
Yeah, I have
somewhere.
no idea where he belongs, but he comes over there and gives me a prize every now and then, a small dead rabbit,
Right.
parts of it, it's all bloody by the front door. I don't feed him or her, but I have no idea where they come from. And people do that. They leave their cats. And
Cat owners tend to turn their cats out into the neighborhood and let them prowl, and that's kind of a problem if you haven't spayed or neutered your cat.
looking at the bright side, we still have coyotes that come through my area, so hopefully they'll take care
Limit
of them.
those.
Yes. So survival of the fittest.
We're not anti-cat here.
Oh no.
We're
But-
just trying to protect the species of the
Right,
burrowing owl.
Right. And the burrowing owls, their habitat has been so encroached on by man that's why we're losing so many of them. And more recently, we've been finding them. And in one of the environmental studies that was done to pave the way for a lot of solar projects, they claimed that there were no burrowing owls in the Shoshone area and Amargosa Valley. And of course, that's incorrect. And as anyone here knows, if you live out here near Pahrump, and so we're now, the citizen scientists of Red Rock Audubon Society are absolutely documenting these birds so that we can fight some of the fights that are coming up on the environmental issues. Our rush to green energy has created more than just companies that are going bankrupt and stealing money. They're causing people to rush out here and start bulldozing off the desert without any respect for the fact that it is habitat for a lot of our animals.
You don't want to mess with the food chain.
Well,
It's all
being green
connected.
is about all of it. It's not just about the way that you get power to your house. It's about the whole big picture.
And you had another, you mentioned Henderson, and Henderson just came up with a ordinance against the pigeons over there.
Yes, they did.
And they have issues with people, with the pigeons feeding them, and they're overpopulated over there. Pigeons have a tendency to be disease prone. Their droppings, their leavings. You were telling me they have 60 different
60 different diseases that pigeons carry, and most of those are transmitted to other birds and animals, including cats, by the way. And then they have two that are particularly harmful to humans, which are a fungus. Both of them they have spores of the fungus that grow in the feces of these birds, and one of them causes histoplasmosis, and the other blastomycosis in humans. And so that's and the respiratory problems that are caused by the feces of the pigeons is what has prompted this review of our city laws to try to get them in accordance with our county laws. And so people that are feeding pigeons are going to have to stop that, or they will be charged with a misdemeanor. And except unless you have those pigeons for a purpose, for instance, racing pigeons. I guess we have a celebrity in Las Vegas who likes to race pigeons, and he's a boxer, so I'm not going to give him any trouble.
Now, when you say that
But
the
he
ordinance,
probably takes care of them in a different manner.
Yeah, it's a whole different thing. They're in cages.
Than like
and-
a street pigeon,
Exactly.
I guess.
Right,
So,
feral pigeons.
yeah.
no, this is an
Feral?
issue in Henderson.
Feral
and-
pigeons, yeah.
Okay.
And this is an issue in Clark County right now. We're not necessarily Nye County. This is just for information purposes, because we do have pigeons out here. We do have people who feed the pigeons, and before they become a burden to us, and we should know what we're doing.
Exactly.
And be a little bit more responsive to the ecosystem, and be careful with our own lungs and our own bodies, because we can transmit the disease could be transmitted to us.
So
Absolutely.
a pigeon is like, would it be correct to say that it's like a rat of the air?
No.
No? Okay,
We-
so
a lot
like
of
I'm
people
hearing
call them
all
flying rats, but
well, I'm hearing like
they're
all
really
of
not.
their diseases, and so I'm just wondering, like, is
Yeah.
that a fair statement, or is it just like in these certain areas they are overpopulated because
Yeah, they're
of the humans
overpopulated.
contributing to that by feeding them?
That is true. The
Okay.
humans are contributing to it by feeding them, and also, they will gather wherever there's a lot of feces and that kind of thing. Dog and cat feces. If you leave that out in the backyard for a long period of time, the pigeons will go in there and start eating things out of there and eating the cat food and dog food. I mean, they're scavenger birds, so they're really rough to deal with. Now, the pigeon that is not a scavenger bird is called a band-tailed pigeon, and we have those up in Mount Charleston. And those are beautiful birds, and people come from all over the world to come and see them here in Mount Charleston, because we can almost always go and show them the birds up in Old Town. And so, and then of course up toward Mary Jane Falls, they're up there, especially when the elderberries are ripe, and they'll be on those elderberries. But they're a lot larger bird than a pigeon. These things are a lot larger. You'll know you're seeing something different when you see those.
So that's not like a traditional.
It doesn't look like a little
It's
rock dove.
definitely
Yeah. Yeah, it does
Just
not.
they just have the name pigeon after him.
Yes.
They're a
No,
different kind
that's
of bird.
another reason for the parents to tell their teenage children to pick up the dog poop in
Exactly.
the yard
Yeah.
because
If you
of
don't want the
diseases.
pigeons in the
Yeah.
backyard, you better pick
They're
them up your dog.
serious. You better pick that up, otherwise you may come down with some serious disease, and not just because it's messy.
Right.
But it's very good. Yes. So we learned a lot, and you're going to have your class coming up right after the show. You're going to be going to the annex for the cooperative extension at 6.
At 6 o'clock.
Oh, you're going to be late.
I'm going to be a little late.
But we had to get this information out. It's very
Yeah, it's really good. And
Yeah.
the website, go on the website. There's some information just even about how you guys started, and it lays out what you guys do and the opportunities that are there for people who are interested in that.
And there's going to be some very exciting things coming up for Pahrump. There's some land that's about to be set aside as a bird preserve here, and I don't want to spill the beans on it, but that's in the works, and so there's going to be a whole lot going on here for the birds and bird lovers
That's
in
awesome.
Oh, great. Give me the story for the one of the local newspapers I work for. Anyway, what do we have out here?
This is a black crowned night heron, and you have those here as well. Those guys hang around water a lot, and you'll see them sitting most of the time. Occasionally they'll take off like this and fly around you, and then they'll make like a loop, and then they'll take off. And
cool.
This is of course the gamble quail, and you've all seen those many times in Pahrump. And this is the mountain bluebird. That is our state bird of Nevada, and this particular one was shot in Yellowstone National Park, though.
I mean, the picture was taken.
The picture was taken in Yellowstone National Park. Exactly. And
He's still alive.
this is a red-shouldered hawk. You have those here as
Beautiful.
well.
Yes.
And this particular photograph was taken at Corn Creek in the Desert National Wildlife Refuge right here in Nevada. And
What else we got?
this is a rufous hummingbird, and this was shot at Mary Jane Falls, at the trailhead to Mary Jane Falls in Mount Charleston. And you have those here as well. If you go up this side of the mountain, up Wheeler Pass, I think, and there's a big field up there where you'll see thousands of these rufous hummingbirds, and they'll be on and around the thistles, and they'll be marking their territory and running each other off. And here's another one. This was a young one. And the females and the young seem to come through here a lot more than the regular males do. And this is a broad-tailed hummingbird, and he has red underneath his neck. We don't have the ruby-throated hummingbirds here in Nevada, in the West. And so if you see one with red underneath the neck, it's a broad-tailed hummingbird.
Wow.
And those are in the mountains as well. And as you can see, he's enjoying a thistle there.
And we have the let's see, herons. We have egrets down in Shoshone and Chicopa.
You do?
I've seen those out there. So if you're into birding, you like looking at birds, watching birds. There's egret, American egret.
There's the no, that's actually a snowy egret. You can tell by the yellow feet.
Oh, I couldn't see his yellow feet.
So,
Okay.
but if you want to get your children involved in something that's inexpensive, to really enjoy and to spark their interest in science and in education, start them on, get them a good pair of binoculars, and let them start looking at those birds. Because when you see the birds with a pair of binoculars, it changes everything. The whole world opens up. I've only been birding about 6 years, and I've been all over the world. I've been to Belize, and I've been to Europe, and this is our our titmouse that's up here in Mount Charleston, and so I've been all over the world, and I really lament the fact that I wasn't a birder at that time. Greater yellowlegs, and you know why they call them that?
No.
It's the yellowlegs.
Oh.
And that's the long-billed doucher right there.
Got me.
And you know, you have these all over the place here too, even at the golf course and little ponds there,
Oh, okay.
and they'll be all over here. And now this is a quail that you do not have here. It's the Montezuma quail, and I got him in southern Arizona. This photograph, and those Montezuma quail are pretty spectacular, but they're very hard to see. So people will look for them.
Camouflage like?
Yeah, people will look for them. I've had a really good birder say he tried to get a photograph for 20 years and only got one about 3 years ago.
Wow.
Wow.
So,
So we have, talking about the cooperative extension.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah. We've only got about 3 or 4 minutes left. 2 minutes? I think, how many fingers did he hold?
Two.
Semi-annual tree sales coming up at the Cooperative Extension, corner of Dandelion and Calvada. You could pick up the trees on Saturday, October 8th from 8 a.m. to noon. You fill out these forms over there. You'll find them on the front, by the front door. There's a minimum order of 3 plants, cash only at pickup. The prices, 1 gallon plants are $4 each, 5 gallons are $10 each, and you have a whole slew of different types of trees and plants you can buy through the Cooperative Extension, and that's happening right now. It's getting late, October 8th. You better call them. It's first come
Saturday.
Right, 727-5532. Ask for Debbie or Pam, whoever's over there. But that's happening right now too. One more week of this big sale over at Star Nursery. My friend over there, Mark, and those people, they're open Sundays until 2. So if you have your flyer, don't let that go to waste, because there's still, the coupons are still good. Go.
Okay. Thank you. If you missed any part of this show, we repeat Sunday mornings at 6:30 a.m. or you can see us on YouTube. Just go to KPVM Community Viewpoint and look for the episode you want. Now, I wanted to get the information from the Community Health Nurse's office. The phone number is 751-7070. It's about the DTaP shot. What that is it's a tetanus shot with pertussis in it. There has been a lot of infant deaths in the state of California because of pertussis. Pertussis is the whooping cough. If you or anyone you know is around an infant, you need to get the Tdap shot. It is available at for a cost at the health nurse's office. Unless you're covered by Medicaid, then Medicaid will cover it. They can't take people with insurance right now, but you can get it from your doctor's office if you ask them about the Tdap shot. Most new mothers now that are having babies are getting it before they leave the hospital. That's how serious it is. So it's called the Tdap shot, and you can call 751-7070 to find out more information about it. And it's because infants are not fully immunized until they are a year old, so they are at risk. Yeah. So any adult surrounding an infant needs to get a Tdap shot. So 751-7070. Go get your shot.
We repeat Sunday mornings at 6:30, and we'll see you tonight at 6:30. And you're late for your appointment, so
thank you for
thank
coming
you for
on.
watching.
Thank you for having me.
Fall Festival and Fair this coming weekend. Be there, please. Thank you.